Good morning, everyone. This is Isla from Brown Owl's Crochet Fun. This is going to be my last video from Scotland. We will be leaving in less than a week to head home to Canada. I have to say I am quite looking forward to getting home. I'm missing my little boys so much, even though we've been able to FaceTime with them quite a bit. But with the time difference, it makes it a little bit hard to get them at a reasonable hour for us. Usually it has to be late at night so that we can catch them in the early evening. But I'll see them in person next Wednesday, so really looking forward to that. We have been busy. Lots of things doing at the Edmonton. We're not in Edmonton, Isla. We're in Edinburgh. The Edinburgh Festival. We've seen quite a few fringe shows. But before I get into that, I forgot to tell you about our car hire fiasco. What happened with that? We planned to stay here in Scotland for, I think it was something like 34, 35 days. So when we made the arrangements to rent a car to use, they told us that we could only rent it for 28 days consecutively. Then we had to have a break and not be able to rent for at least a month after that. Something to do with insurance. Don't ask me what it was. Can't explain it. Anyway, so we decided that when we got here, we would wait a couple of days before hiring the car and then give it back before we left, a few days before we left, so that we could just encompass that 28-day limit that they had. Anyway, we went and to pick up the car, the first car, and we specifically asked for an automatic transmission, not the manual. Couldn't give us that. We decided that we would try it for a day, and it was okay, but we weren't comfortable in it, so we decided to go back for another one. They didn't have another one. They had to send us to a different location, and that took a couple of days to arrange. We finally got to get the second car. It was an automatic, and because of all the hassle, we were given a discount. So we got it for about £500 cheaper than what we had been quoted. So that was good. We were quite happy about that. And we've had it ever since and are taking it back on Monday. We still have a couple of days after that, but we'll just travel with my sister or take a bus somewhere. The weather continues to be up and down. Right now it's very sunny and we have some washing out, something that I don't do in Canada. We wash and dry in the dryer, but here in Scotland everything goes out on the washing on the lines outside, and the sun and the wind dry them. Makes them smell very fresh. We've had thunder and lightning, flooding. There was one day we were going to see a show, and we left the house to catch the bus, and it's only like a 2-minute walk to the bus stop. We ran all the way because it was raining so hard, and we were absolutely soaked by the time we got to the bus stop. Luckily, we had good rain wear, so the top half was okay, but my pants were wet, my shoes were wet. Not comfortable to spend the rest of the day like that. The bus that we were on that day, the driver was, don't think he knew where he was going. He made a wrong turn. There are so many routes that drivers take in Edinburgh, and they take turns driving different routes. I think he thought he was doing one when he was doing the other, and he made a wrong turn, so he had to do a U-turn somewhere. Now this is a big double-decker bus, not just a little single-decker. It was a double-decker bus. How he maneuvered it, I don't know. So that was the first thing. Then further on in that journey, he had to make a sudden stop for something. I don't know if somebody ran out in front of him or if a car cut in or whatever, but he stopped so hard that everybody was thrown forward. I was sitting on a seat facing the front of the bus, but faced towards at the back, and when he stopped like that, I went flying forward and hit my head on the chair in front of me, knocked my glasses off. I hit my head right here, but there was no cut or bruise or anything. I was fine. There was nothing to worry about. But that was kind of scary. What else? I want to tell you about some of the shows that we have been seeing. Okay, let me get back to my beginning of my thing here. So the first show we went to see was called Cirque Berserk, and it was in a theatre. And there were about 30 performers, lots of daredevil acts, high ropes, tumbling, acrobatics, all that sort of thing. Really quite spectacular. And they had this big sphere in the middle of the stage, and it was like a cage. So first off, two guys on motorbikes went in that, riding around inside this sphere, and they were going really fast, and that was amazing. Later on in the show, a third guy joined them, and a girl stood in the middle, just on the ground. The sphere itself did not move. It was the bikes that did all the moving. So they were spinning around. Oh, hopefully my husband can get that phone. Maybe not. We'll just ignore it. I don't like answering the phone in my sister's house. Anyway, three of them were driving around this cage, and the girl standing in the middle. That we thought was spectacular. Then a fourth guy joined them, and we're sitting saying, oh no, no way are 4 motorbikes going to get in that little cage and be able to spin around or drive around and not collide or fall or whatever. So that was that. Then, believe it or not, a 5th one came in. Oh my goodness. We thought, there's no way, absolutely not. We're all holding our breath, and boy, oh boy, that was quite spectacular. I have a short video of it, and I'm going to post it on my Instagram account, so you can check that out. It might take me a few minutes to get it done after I finish this video, but I'll get them up there eventually. The second show we saw was Grease versus Dirty Dancing. That was 4 performers, and they did a medley of songs. They were interactive with the audience. It was a very small setting, very intimate. So they had people up doing the conga line. Not me. No, I can't dance, so I'm not going to get up and make a fool of myself. The only downfall for that one was the sound was just too loud for the small venue. Even though the singers were really good, but the background music was just too loud. Then we went and saw A Grave Situation. This was 20 actors, and it was a war-based story about 4 brothers who were gravediggers, called up and sent to Dunkirk in World War II. And it was about their escapades while they were there. It was a very light-hearted play. There was some singing, a little bit of dancing, but all in all, it was a really good show. It got the point across. Then my sister and husband and I went and saw another war-based one called In Loyal Company. Now, this was a one-man show about the actor's great uncle's war experiences. Fighting, captured by the Japanese, building the railroad, and the horror of the conditions that they lived under. The actor's name is David William Bryan. He's a method actor, and he is fantastic. He was on stage for an hour solid, never left the stage, and he played approximately 28 characters in that time. And you knew they were a different character because he changed his voice or his mannerisms, his facial expressions, that sort of thing. So you knew exactly who was telling the story at any one point. He was absolutely drenched in sweat by the time he was finished that performance, because he ran around and acted everything out, you know, running and digging for the railroad and bayoneting the Japanese, and just everything that he had to do. He was fully immersed in it. It was quite amazing. I have to admit, by the end of it, I was crying. It was sad. He came home after 5 years, 4 of them in a Japanese prisoner of war camp. And if you've read anything about World War II history, you'll know how horrendous that would be. He came home with tuberculosis, and he didn't live very long after he got home. On a lighter note, we also went and saw a comedian called Stuart Francis. He's actually a Canadian of Scottish descent who now lives in the UK. He had some very funny one-liners, often making a play on words, none of which I can remember, of course. He was so fast, it just, you laugh and he's on to the next one and you're still laughing at the previous one, so it was quite good. So that's been the extent of our shows at the Edinburgh Festival. And I would suggest you Google the Edinburgh Festival and just see how large and spectacular it is. I mean, there's got to be millions of people come to Edinburgh for this over the 3 week period. And anytime you go into town, it's just chock-a-block people, and accents and languages being spoken are amazing. I could just stand in the corner and listen to people go past and just to hear all the different accents. My sister took us for a treat the other afternoon. We went for afternoon tea. I don't know how many of you have had that, but it's quite the experience. And this one was extra special because the location was a little restaurant that was set up to look like the Orient Express. If you want to Google the Orient Express and see what that looked like, give you an idea of the atmosphere that they had recreated. So we sat down to tea or coffee, some finger sandwiches, some small cakes, some hors d'oeuvres, little sausage rolls, little quiches. We had a scone with clotted cream and jam to die for. Oh my goodness, I want to go back. It was great. It was a completely unique experience. I've never had such a good time. We sat there for 2 hours just talking. While you're sitting there in the chairs, they have video screens to the side of you, and they're playing the route that the train follows. So you're going through the mountains and the snow and all that sort of stuff, through tunnels and so on. And it's really quite effective because you think you're moving. You think you're actually in a train when you're, peripherally you can see this video going on at the side and you think you're moving. In fact, my husband got up to go to the washroom and he came back and he says, I was walking like this. He thought he was moving. Oh dear. All right, now to get on to some crochet stuff, since I've spent a good 12 minutes talking about my adventures in Scotland. Okay, I have a few finished objects, not too many of which I can show you. I made 3 little hats for baby Wes. I finished, those hats were from the Crochet Crowd. I finished the Bag of Day dress towel for hanging over your stove. I was making it for my sister-in-law, but when my sister saw it, I showed her, how it worked and what to, just what it was, but she wasn't sure what it was. She said, she says, I love that. Is that for me? I said, sure, if you want it. I didn't honestly think she would want it, but she did. So she got that one. So now I'm starting another one for my sister-in-law, and it's different colors. This one is blue with kind of yellow apron. So I'll have that finished before we leave. I made some toys or some food items for Zoe, who is Wes's big sister. She's 3, to play with. So I made a couple of donuts just for her to pretend with, and a fried egg. And there will be more before I leave. I'm going to make some strawberries and some vegetables, so on. Let's get back to my notes here. I've got notes galore. Okay, we don't need that one. That one's finished. Okay. Let's see. Oh, right. The winners of my giveaway. Both ladies contacted me. Margaret, who lives in Scotland, believe it or not, she emailed me, and I emailed her, or beg your pardon, I mailed her gift. Again, I'll post a picture of that on Instagram. I'm hoping that she's got it by now. It made more sense to mail it from here, and she was okay with that. The other winner, Lisa. She lives in Alaska. Excuse me, and I'm going to wait till I get back to Canada to put together a little package for her. She's okay with that. What else have we been doing? Okay, well, acquisitions. Oh, I still got, let me show you, I'm still working on this other bag. This is my sort of take along on the bus thing I do, you know, when I don't have to think about what I'm doing, don't need a pattern. I'm also, still haven't finished this one, and I'm promised myself I'm going to finish it before I leave, because if I don't, poor Zoe will be without a nice little top. So I'm going to get this one finished. All right, acquisitions. All I got this week was some extra cotton yarn to do the other towel over the oven, hanging over the oven door towel thing. And I bought another crochet magazine, and it's got lots of little amigurumi type people in it, so as well as some other patterns. So I'm going to get working on that. It also came with the yarn and a crochet hook, so I'll be doing that. All right, I think that's about everything. Let me just check my little pieces of paper here, see if I've forgotten anything. Oh, final one last thing. We took a day trip to a town or a village called Anstruther, and that's on the east coast of Scotland. And guess what? We didn't get lost. Yay! We got there without any complications. It's a beautiful village. They have a beautiful harbour, and they're also world renowned for the best fish and chips. Of course, we had to stop in there and have some. Personally, I don't have the fish and chips. I have haggis. That's my favourite. It was good, I have to say, but I wouldn't rate it as number one. We've had a few really good fish suppers while we've been here, which means, of course, that when we get home, we're on a diet. We're going to have to really cut back on all the garbage that we've been eating while we're here. But hey, it's once a year, once in a lifetime sometimes, so why not? We enjoyed it. We'll worry about the excess weight when we get home. All right, I think that's everything that I wanted to share with you guys. My next video will be from Edmonton when I'm home. You'll have to give me a couple of days to get over the jet lag, but I'll be back on, and hopefully I'll have some works in progress and maybe even some finished objects to show you. So if you want to check out my Instagram page, I will be uploading some pictures very shortly. If they're not there when you go, just give me a few minutes. It takes a little bit for me to get organized. You know me and computers, I'm not the quickest on the mark with that, but I try. Okay, so I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers. I'm up to 216 now. We hopefully will be able to get up to 300 and maybe have another giveaway. So if any of you lovely ladies or gentlemen out there want to give me a shout out to help me get my numbers up, that would be appreciated. So if you just want to like this video, share it if you can, subscribe, and check the bell button so you get notification of every time I put up a video, that would be appreciated. But we're coming up on 19 minutes here, so I think it's time to say goodbye from Scotland, and I'll see you again next week from Canada. Bye-bye.